Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Siti Khadijah binti Abdul Halim. My matrix number is 263282. My individual assignment is about the internal and external factors that affect the performance of Apex Healthcare Berhad. The overview of Apex Healthcare Berhad. Apex Healthcare Berhad was founded in Melaka in 1962 as a retail pharmacy. Apex Healthcare Berhad was Malaysia's leading pharmaceutical and consumer healthcare wholesaler. Other than Malaysia, the company also operates in Singapore, Myanmar, and Vietnam. Apex was a distributor for a well-known company which are Nestle, 3M, and Rigel Pharma. The principal activities are in the manufacturing, sales and marketing, development, distribution, and wholesaling of pharmaceutical and consumer healthcare products. The vision of Apex Healthcare Berhad is to continuously bringing health and quality of life to all their customers through their business and have the customers' trust towards the products to enhance their well-being. Apex Healthcare Berhad has strived to provide an efficient, professional, and responsive touch in dealings with their third party. This is to ensure that they meet all the applicable quality standards throughout the group. Next is issue and problem. The liquidity of risk is a main problem for Apex Healthcare Berhad. Firms need the right amount of money to run their daily operation. Therefore, if the company is unable to repay its short-term debt, the company might be involved in liquidity risk issue. However, it is reliable that liquidity risk can be affected by other, such as credit risk, performance, and corporate governance. Since the corporate governance may influence the liquidity risk, therefore, in this report, the determinants of liquidity risk in the Apex Healthcare Berhad have to be found. In addition, the external factors such as inflation rate, interest rate, exchange rate, and unemployment rate may also affect the liquidity risk of a company. Since the external factors may exist a relationship with the liquidity risk, therefore, in this report, the determinants of liquidity risk in the Apex Healthcare Berhad have to be determined. Next is we will discuss about the research objective and research question. There are three research objectives, which are the first one is to investigate the impact of internal factor in the performance of Apex Healthcare Berhad. The second one is to investigate the impact of external factor in the performance of Apex Healthcare Berhad. And the last one is to investigate the impact of both internal factor and external factor in the performance of Apex Healthcare Berhad. For the research question, the first one is there any relationship between ROA towards firm internal factor in the Apex Healthcare Berhad? And the second one is there any relationship between ROA towards firm external factor in the aspect Apex Healthcare Berhad? And the last one is there any relationship between ROA towards both internal factor and external factor in the Apex Healthcare Berhad? For the literature review, return on asset, which is ROA, is a measurement of the company in managing to generate income. If the ratio increasing, it means that the company have a good performance on generates income. The formula for ROA is average total asset will be divided to net income. Next is internal factor and external factor. The internal factor used in this study is ROA, which is return on asset, ROE, return on equity, CAR ratio, average collection period, debt to income, operational ratio, operational margin, and CG index. For external factor, inflation rate, interest rate, exchange rate, and unemployment. Next is a methodology. The methodology that used in this study is statistical analysis, model 1, and model 2, and model 3. Statistical analysis is taken from annual report of Apex Healthcare Berhad from 2015 until 2019. This is to calculate the dependent variable and dependent variable including in internal and external factor. For the model 1, it is the influence with internal factor on the company performance of Apex healthcare berhad. The model 2 is influenced with external factor on the performance of Apex healthcare berhad, and the model 3 the influence with internal factor and the external factor on the performance of Apex, Apex healthcare berhad. Okay, next we will talk about the internal and external analysis for model 3, which is descriptive statistic. The table shows the descriptive statistics. Here's the descriptive statistic for model 3. There is mean and standard deviation for ROA, ROE, current ratio, average collection period, debt to income, operational ratio, operating margin, inflation rate, interest rate, exchange rate, unemployment, and CG index. The next one is about the correlation for model 3. The table shows the correlation for internal and external factor and the dependent of return on asset, which is ROA, based on Pearson correlation. The return on equity, ROE, is the highest correlation with ROA with 0.991. The second highest goes to CG index with the result 0.734. The third highest result is operating margin with 0.585. Next with 0.433 by interest rate, followed by unemployment, operational ratio, and average collection period with the result 0.268, 0.192, and 0.079 respectively. The current ratio, debt to income, inflation rate, and exchange rate shows the negative correlation with negative 0.702, 0.8, negative 0.843, negative 0.142, and negative 0.661 respectively. If the correlation shows the positive impacts, it defines the return on asset ROA increase. The rate also will be increased. If it shows the negative impacts, which means the return on asset decrease, the rate of independent variable also will be declined. Next, it will be describing the p-value between the dependent variable and independent variables, which define the significant if p-value less than 0.10, which is weak, p-value less than 0.05, which means moderate, and p-value less than 0.01, which means the significant is strong. The strongest result based on the data are returns on equity with p-value 0.001. The moderate is debt to income, which results of 0.037. For the lowest result are from current ratio and CG index with 0.093 and 0.079 respectively. For other variables, they shows that they are not significant because the p-value was more than 0.10. Next, we will discuss about ANOVA. The table shows the ANOVA for model 3. The F value in the table shows 10.585 p-value, while the p-value is 0.221, which is not statistically significant because it is more than 0.10. This symbolizes that ROA, CG index, current ratio, and inflation rate influence of the performance of the Apex healthcare berhad. Next one is model summary. In the model summary, ROA can be predicted and explained using adjusted R-square, which predictors of this model summary is CG index, current ratio, and inflation rate. The adjusted R-square value for the predictors is 0.878 or 87.8%. The next one is coefficient. The table shows the coefficient of dependent variables of internal and external factors, with the dependent variable which are returns on assets, ROA. It defines the significant, which is p-value. If p-value less than 0.1, it means this is weak. while the p-value less than 0.05 moderate and p-value less than 0.08 strong. In the table, current ratio show inflation rate and CG index are not significant because their p-value are more than 0.1, which are 0.166, 0.476, and 0.173. Okay, the last is about conclusion and recommendation. In conclusion, based on the study, we can conclude that the Apex Healthcare Berhad performance was influenced by firms' internal and external factors. For current ratio and inflation rate had a strongly significant impact on the performance of Apex Healthcare Berhad. The company have to play their role by managing these two variables well. The current ratio is the internal factor that shows the strongly significant impact on the company's performance. So the company need to improve their liquidity control that are involved in operation activities. Other than that, the company also need to always focus on managing the strategies, including their assets and current liabilities. Meanwhile, for the external factor, which is inflation rate, had significant effect the company's performance. So Apex Healthcare Berhad need to make preparation on dealing the inflation rates, such as improving their business cash flow. A relatively low inflation rate will influence the bottom line of the business by increasing the cost of materials, machinery, and extra. If the company are not ready to deal with it, they will face a negative effect on their financial position. That's all from me. Thank you.